Hey guys, real quick before we get started, I want to share with you a giveaway that I'm doing. Let's scroll to the top of my site here. At the very top, you'll see April 18th, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time is the Great Gadget Giveaway. I'm going to be doing it live on Vocal. How do you sign up? Come on over here. Put in your email address. If you want to get additional entries into the giveaway, then go ahead and tweet something out with the hashtag Aging Insider Live. That hashtag is Aging Insider Live. All right, guys, let's go on to the interview.
Hey all you wisdom seekers, it's Becca Niederkrum once again with aginginsider.com, and we have a fantastic episode today. I have sitting in front of me the CEO and founder of MobileHelp, and I have Rob Flippo here. Welcome, Rob.
Hi there.
Hi. So you are the founder of a mobile medical alert system, and I got to tell you, I've checked out the system, and this isn't the system from the 80s or 90s. You guys have taken a mobile alert system and created a whole new way of helping out our aging population. So tell us more about what you've created.
Sure. Just to clarify, I'm a co-founder. There were two of us, but just to give credit where credit's due for sure. But what we really were trying to do is extend the systems that everybody's heard the commercials for, Help I've Fallen and Can't Get Up, beyond people's homes, because most people don't realize that those systems only work inside your home. And as technologists, we thought it makes no sense for somebody to be strapped to their home and not be able to leave without having the same type of protection that they could get in their home outside of their home. So we developed a mobile personal emergency response system that leverages cellular technology and GPS technology that's readily available and ubiquitous to solve a problem that existed for the senior community.
Nice. So you've added on the GPS component because you said, hey, the senior or the person who needs this isn't necessarily going to stay inside their home.
Correct.
Yeah. And so the products out there, did all of the products out there not have GPS is already out there, so GPS wasn't being utilized for this?
No, they all relied on home telephone lines and a button that worked anywhere from 200 to 500 feet from the box connected to the home phone line, and that was the extent of how far you were able to leave your house.
So you guys immediately thought, hey, if we could put this piece of technology together and this piece, we could serve a lot of people.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's what we did. We built a little unit that you take when you leave the house that can give you the same protection as when you're in the house. So if you fall or have an issue, you press the emergency button and you'll speak to our live operators, and they know who you are. They know where you are with the GPS technology. So even if you can't speak, we can dispatch help to your direct location, and we know who you are and whether you have a profile.
Okay, so everything is automated and systemized to allow technology to work better and work better for that person who's in need at that
Absolutely.
time. Nice. So tell me, what are your customers? Who is this for?
We have a combination. About 25% of our customers are caregivers, people who bought the systems for their parents or grandparents.
Okay.
And about 75% of our customers are direct purchasers in need of a system. But they generally have the same requirements. It's not about being old, it's about being prepared. And I think one of the things that we've struggled with a little bit is there's a very negative stigma around the need for a medical alarm system. Like, I need to be nearly dead before I could possibly need one of those things. And by adding mobility, we're saying we know you're going to be out, we know you're going to be active, but things happen. And when they happen, we want you to be prepared so that we can help you. And even if you carry a cell phone, anybody who's experienced an injury or heart attack or a stroke, they know you can't necessarily dial 911 and explain who you are and explain where you're at in time to get appropriate help. So that's really what we do for our customers.
That's a big deal. So I would imagine. I mean, for myself, I'd like to purchase this. Why? Because I carry my cell phone everywhere. But if I go running and I'm out on the trails, I always think to myself, if something were to happen, the reason why I bring my phone, and I hope that it doesn't rain, but the reason why I bring my phone is, what if? What if something happens? I sprain my ankle and need to call somebody. How would someone know where I was? And so I find myself in the dilemma of, do I bring my phone? Do I not bring my phone? It's such a burden to bring it, and you don't want to break it or get it wet. So this seems to solve the problem for so many people. Just going on a walk, if they were to fall, the cell phone's not gonna. It could possibly come in handy, but it may not help at all.
That's true, and I know one of our younger customers who's actually in his 60s who had a pacemaker installed. He's very active, so he bicycles and he runs, and he carries our device for that reason, because if that device has an electrical discharge, it could incapacitate him, and he's aware of that, particularly when he's exercising, it could happen. Mm-hmm. So with our device, he knows he can press one button. In his profile, they already know that if he's pressing the button and he can't speak, it's likely because that is what was the cause, and they could potentially send him help. So you're exactly right. And I'm an avid cyclist and runner myself, and I bring my device so that my wife can ping the device online and know where I'm at, because we have caregiver tools that let you locate a device. So, and it'll pull up a map and show where the device is at. So we've done that as well.
Okay, so did you say your wife was tracking you?
Yeah, so she knows if I'm going for a 3 or 4 hour bike ride, she can keep an eye on where I'm at, so that if she doesn't hear from me, she knows, oh, he's 50 miles away or 100 miles away. She knows I'm okay still.
Yeah, I think that's a great use. My husband goes cycling too, and he'll go off for hours and hours with this group of folks, and he doesn't bring his cell phone, and just because it just doesn't work to bring the cell phone. And I just wonder, until he gets back to his car, I just think, okay, call me or text me when you get back to your car. So for 4 hours, I know you're on some mountain bike trail somewhere, and I have no idea if you're safe or not. So I could see this serving a number of customers, but like you said, this is really about being prepared.
And one of the things that we didn't do, that there were a couple of other attempts to build a product like this for seniors. Mm-hmm. And what usually happened was the company would build a device that was what I would call a cell phone light. So it was sort of like a cell phone with more than one button. Mm-hmm. And they generally were a little bit more complicated. Our device literally has one button on it, so you can't. There's no confusion about what button you need to press to get help.
Right.
But the other thing that those other companies did was that they threw away the in-home components of the system. So the things that protect people during the times that they're at home were now missing from the system. So we kept all of those components, so you still get a system that either plugs into a phone line or has a standalone cellular capability. But when you're in the home, you have an extra layer of protection by not throwing out those components. The other thing is we have wearable pendants that also activate both the mobile component of the system as well as the in-home base component. So even if you're in the shower or in the tub, this pendant is waterproof, so you can wear it there. And if you have an issue, you can press the button and still have those same in-home capabilities as everybody else has.
Absolutely. And having something nearby is really the effect after of being in a situation and not being able to reach out to someone for help leaves quite an emotional impact. For example, one of my neighbors, 4 houses down, was out in the front of her yard. She was gardening with her dog, and it's a bit of a busy street because there's a high school down at one end of the street. She fell and was in her front yard for 8 hours. Wow. And had just no device whatsoever, no cell phone. People are thinking, what could possibly go wrong? I'm just out gardening. She fell and she couldn't get up. And the thing was, she was in front of, or sort of between her bushes.
Right.
And she saw one car after another. So even though she was in a somewhat busy area, there was one high schooler after another, and I'm sure they were on their cell phones, not looking up at all.
Right.
And so she was out there for 8 hours, and completely, to this day, this happened maybe 4 years ago, she still talks about it, just that impact it left on her to have no one to reach out to. And I want to walk down this afternoon and talk to her and say, hey, put the MobileHelp around your neck, put the mobile device, clip it onto your pants, and wear this, and you won't have to worry about that, because I know for sure, and I'm sure you talk to folks all the time, I'm sure she second guesses herself when she goes out to the front of her house to garden or backyard to garden. That moment probably never leaves her mind. I'm sure you deal with clients, customers like that all the time.
Absolutely, and and people's idea of mobility can be very different. So you and I may think of mobility as, I want to be able to travel 1,000 miles away from my home, and I would need a mobile solution to allow me to do that. But one of our first customers called us and said she was so thankful to have our product because she was now able to go to her mailbox comfortably. She could walk because her driveway was fairly long. A traditional system wouldn't connect back to the base in the house, so she would literally sit in her living room waiting for a neighbor to walk by before she could go out and get her mail, because it was the only time she felt comfortable enough that if something happened, she could get help. And for her, it was as simple as being free now to go get her mail whenever she wanted, taking our device. We had another customer who was taking the garbage out. It was up north. It was snowy. He fell down on the side of his house, called for help, and told the operator to send somebody from his family from inside the house out to help him. So he had people at home who had no idea he had walked outside and fallen down. And he may have, with people in his house, been out there for a long time before somebody realized Grandpa walked out and didn't come back.
No.
To in the snow. So
no, Rob, you were bringing up, actually, do I dare share this with everyone? But I remember I actually was in Coral Springs, and I love to climb trees, and I don't know, I was 7, 8 years old. And so sure enough, everyone, I mean, I even had my grandparents visiting, and maybe there's more commotion in the house, because when you live inside, you can't hear what's going on outside. I was climbing a tree, and my knee got lodged between some of the limbs. I was stuck in a tree, and this story still is at every Christmas holiday and Thanksgiving holiday, how Becca was stuck in a tree for a couple hours, and I was screaming. But when you live in, depending on where you live, if it's the country, I've always lived in some sort of suburbia where people sort of stay inside their home, where there's plenty of people around, they're just not necessarily walking by. So something as simple as being in a tree, and I eventually got myself unstuck, crawled into the garage. It's very emotional, very dramatic, as the 8-year-old I was. And no one knew. But, you know, they couldn't. No one's walking by. People are driving by. People who are driving by in suburbia aren't looking for, you know, people who are in distress. To have something, and this was before the days of cell phones, so there was no option. And if the cell phone fell out of someone's pocket, which a lot of devices I see, the cell phone's great, but if you fall down, that cell phone is going to go flying out of your pocket or out of your hand. And so to have something around your neck, show me the mobile device again. Can you hold that up to the camera?
Sure.
Tell me how, so that's really clear. That is literally one button, so no one can get confused about that. How does that attach? Do you hold on to that? How does that work?
So this is typically put in when you leave the house, we also have a leather pouch that comes with it. So they typically put it in a pouch so people don't even know they're carrying it.
Great. Yeah.
And they wear a lanyard worn or a wrist worn pendant with a panic button on it.
And is that button the same? It's just a single button again?
Yeah, this is an activator button that activates that system.
Okay, perfect.
So if this fall, like to your point, if you fall and this flies away from you, this will trigger this device to make the call for you. So
nice.
The speaker's very sensitive, the microphone's very sensitive. The speaker's loud and the microphone's sensitive.
Right.
So you can still make a connection. It knows we know where you're at. So that's kind of how that works.
Nice. And I like that you mentioned something about just the look of it. So someone doesn't have to hold it out and say, hey, I have the MobileHelp on. You could put it inside a leather pouch, so it's discreet. Right. And then also the lanyard as well. It's nice and small, and it looks like you could also just pop that inside your shirt as well, or inside a coat.
And most people do. We also have a wrist worn version. That's just a simple button on a wrist. That's a fairly popular option. But generally, hold on one second. I'm actually got to tell somebody.
Sure.
Sorry.
Zero.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple minutes. Sorry.
Hey, it's real life.
It is. Yeah. So this button is actually very small, and the user will wear this all the time. They sleep in it. They shower in it. They go to bed in it.
Oh, they can shower in it too, so it's waterproof.
It's waterproof for
Nice.
shower or bathtub. So that's kind of the use profile.
And you mentioned there's a watch too, or some sort of watch device.
Yeah, it's actually a wrist-worn version of the same button. Let me go grab one real quick.
Yeah, go grab one. That'd be great to see. So you guys, I'm here with Rob Flippo, and he is with MobileHelp, and he's showing off his awesome devices. One is a mobile device, one is in the form of a lanyard, and the other that he's going to grab right now is a wristwatch. So he's going to show it, and I'm also going to put the picture down below to show exactly what it looks like. Oh, it looks like he's back here with the watch. Perfect.
This is you would wear it on your wrist.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it looks totally like a normal watch.
Yeah, and it's basically the same button, panic button. So if something happened, it would trigger your device or your in-home base station to get help from us.
Nice. So the lanyard and the watch trigger the device.
Correct.
Okay. So
And
as
then
long as you're wearing one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Is the watch also waterproof?
It is. It's waterproof and to be in the shower or the bathtub.
Awesome. That's so awesome. The watch is something that, as far as the digital immigrants, they do like to wear watches. I know just some of the younger generations don't wear watches as much anymore, but I think that would be perfect for running, for bicycling. Most of the seniors I know are still working, very active. They just want that extra safety net around them. And so to throw on a watch and go for a jog,
Sure.
totally done and done. Love it.
And I think that, I know that I've got some customers who swim, for example. They'll go down to the pool and they'll swim.
Yep.
So they'll leave their mobile device at the edge of the pool, and they'll be wearing this. So if they had an issue, even from the pool, they could activate an alarm and get help. So
Nice.
we have actually very active customers. So it's not the typical customer you would think of as somebody who would need a medical alarm system.
Yeah, I like how you guys have done the research. That's really what I do in my business is, especially with the computer training business, some of my friends come to me and they'll have this stereotype about who I'm working with. And I say, the senior population I work with, senior is everyone from 50 and up. So I work with a lot of professionals, extremely intelligent, extremely successful individuals that just need some extra support because of, this situation or that situation. So in working with seniors, I'm working with surgeons, I'm working with attorneys who just need an extra hand to hold as they navigate something new. And they're also very active. They're training for sports. They're top of their game in tennis. So having something around when maybe there's not family around, maybe they live alone, is just a really nice way to sleep a little easier at night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The peace of mind that comes with having it, I think, is really what you're speaking to, and it's
Sure.
true. People are more comfortable knowing that, if I have an issue, there's somebody that I can contact who's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, waiting to help if they need to.
Absolutely. So let's go through your products. So we
Sure.
know if somebody's listening right now and says, you know what, this is awesome. I've got to get this. My dad would love wearing that watch. It makes sense for his activity level. What's the name of the product? Is it all? I was researching and it looks like there's some different names. So what's the name? And then we'll go into what's the price point? How can they buy this?
Sure. So we have right now we have two products. One's called MobileHelp Solo.
Okay.
It's called MobileHelp Duo. And the description is sort of built into the name.
Perfect.
The Duo system has an in-home base station that plugs into your phone line, as well as a mobile device, as I've shown you. The box that plugs into the phone line works very much like a traditional system. They're both activated by the same pendant, and the mobile device they take when they leave. The solo system is for people who don't have a phone line, so they basically utilize the mobile device as the in-home base station. So you have a charging cradle that this device sits on, and because you can trigger it remotely, it works very much like a traditional system. And the price point is in the $36 to $40 a month range, depending on the pay cycle. You don't pay for equipment, you don't pay for contracts for the cellular component. It's all built into the pricing. There are no contracts, so it's a 30-day risk-free trial.
Sure.
Don't like it for any reason, send it back. If you sign up for an annual plan and you pay for the year and you send it back in 3 months, we'll prorate a refund back to you. So there's literally no contracts to sign off on.
Phew, I'm wiping my head. Not that someone wouldn't use it, but it's just nice to not have one more contract in life to have to sign and be part of and think about. Not that someone wouldn't use a product forever, but it just takes that sort of, just gives you a little more relief to say, you know what, I've got control of whether I like this or not, when I want to be part of it or not part of it.
And our philosophy is that if we're providing you good service and giving you that level of comfort, you'll want to use it, and that's up to us to make sure we maintain that level of satisfaction. So
Nice.
we're comfortable doing that.
Nice. So did you say that does the unit cost something or doesn't cost something?
Nope,
If it's
there's no cost for the system.
Wow. Okay.
It's all part of the plan. Just like with the cable company, when you're finished using it, you send it back.
Nice.
But there's no upfront cost for the equipment.
You're kidding me. Okay, so average price is what you said, $36 a month.
$36 to $40, depending on how you pay.
Nice. So that's 24-hour, 31 day month support.
Correct.
If needed, peace of mind. That to me, the biggest challenge I have. My parents are. This is something that'd be perfect for my parents who just run into some physical challenges, and they're very, very active. But there's some concerns that have come up, and it'd just be nice just to have that extra support there so that they could reach out to someone if need be because they live alone. What's really hard for me and for my husband is finding gifts, finding things to buy for our senior parents and relatives in my life. And this is something that's not, I know it's a medical alert system, but at the same time, it would be something I would feel comfortable giving as a gift. There's just something just really active and sporty and trendy about what you're offering to say, you know what, this is a great gift. This is, instead of getting them just another sweater or flowers, this is something that would pay off and would make everyone happy without being condescending either.
Right. Yeah, and I mean the other benefit to you as what we call a caregiver is that if an event does happen, you're automatically notified as soon as it happens by email, and we're actually working on some more extensive apps that'll work on your iPhone.
Nice.
But even in the current email integration, we send you a link to a map. So if your mom had a device and she pressed the button 3 blocks from the house, you'd get a map, an online map with a pin drop, so you know exactly where she was at when an event happened. And that notification is almost instantaneous from the time she presses the button. So our operators are busy handling the call and making sure she gets help, but you're aware of it right away. So
Nice.
our customers, particularly on the caregiver side, really love that feature.
Absolutely. So let's break it down a little bit further. If someone was wearing the device, they push the button, what's the first thing that would happen?
So the first thing that happens is a connection is made to our central station. Our central monitoring station, as I said, is a 24/7 fully redundant central monitoring station that's essentially waiting for, unfortunately, things to happen. So they get on the line, and the analogy I like to use is OnStar. So there's an operator with a two-way voice channel speaking to you, whether you're in your home or you're away from your home with a mobile device, to try and determine what the issue is. A lot of times the customer says, like we had a customer who fell down in the laundry room of his building. He's like, send Millie down to come and help me get up. Don't send paramedics. I'm okay, but I just can't get up. So
Sure.
we call Millie because we have her name and number in our system, and she goes down and helps them or helped him get up and come back. So the operator goes through a process of trying to understand what the issue is. And depending on the level of severity, it can range from calling you as a caregiver to go check on mom because she's not feeling well to dispatching paramedics if there's a real emergency. And in some cases, we don't hear anything, right? Somebody's pressed the button, had an issue, they passed out. We know who they are, we know where they are, so we send paramedics right away. So there's a range of outcomes, but it all starts from our trained operators figuring out the situation and handling it appropriately.
Nice. Okay, so the gentleman who fell in the laundry room called, the operator was able to call the wife. How does that happen? How does your company get the information?
So when the customer purchases the product, they do a setup process in which they give contact information for, sometimes a neighbor is a good contact person for a local incident. Sometimes it's their kids or grandkids who happen to live in the same city. So we collect all of that data when we're setting a customer up. So they're not having to remember what their neighbor's phone number is per se at the time of an incident. So that's all collected and in our system by the time an incident happens.
Nice. Is there a limit to the amount of contacts that could be put in there? And do they have to be local, or could it be a caregiver that's out of state?
We have a lot of caregivers that are out of state because their parents live in Florida and they live in New York, and vice versa, and lots of other combinations. Although Florida and New York seem to be a good there's a lot of those. Yep. But there's not a limit. There's sort of a practical limit of how many you can manage within one account. But usually people have 4 or 5 contacts. Some of them local, some of them not local, that we can use in the event of an emergency. And they also have profiles that say, if something happens, call my son first. And unless there's a critical issue that we know we need to dispatch paramedics, that's how we'll handle the call. So the user can kind of predetermine how the calls are managed.
Nice.
Most people do not like EMS coming to their house. Unless there's a dire emergency, they don't like paramedics and fire trucks. They're embarrassed about it. It's a real negative thing to happen. So to the extent we can avoid that for them, that they really prefer that.
Nice. And that's what's nice about the two-way radio, is that someone could talk to the person in need and find out, hey, do we need to send them, or is there another option?
Right.
And then you all have a list of options.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And there's some devices on the market that just call 911, and that has very limited ability to help you in a lot of situations. They're going to send paramedics almost under every circumstance because they don't really have any other way to handle those calls. So it's a different kind of product.
Yeah, and that's a pricey option as well, calling EMS as well. So what makes you different is you've got the options. You have a two-way radio. There's also GPS built in there, and then if the operator is alerted, let's say my parents alert the operator, I also get an email with a GPS location of where my parents have hit the button. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Nice. And then that means, as the caregiver, I can make a call, as soon as possible and check in. Or if I have the neighbor information, I can also call the neighbor and say, hey, head over there and tell me what's going on. So it gives me just so many different options to have this comprehensive approach at a $35 a month sort of cost.
Yeah,
nice.
That's why our customers really love it.
Nice, I love it. Any other good stories that you want to share with us?
Well, we have some that are a little bit funny. So we have a guy who's in Texas. I forget exactly where, but he likes to drive his tractor, and he's had a couple of issues from his tractor, and we've been able to send him help. One time from his neighbor, one time from paramedics while he was out on his tractor mowing some very large piece of property. So when our operators look at the GPS map, there's not many buildings around, but we know he's out. We know he's likely out on his tractor. The funny part of the story is the first time we sent help, it was his neighbor. The second time he needed help, his neighbor said he wasn't going to go help him because he had knocked down a fence and his chickens got in his yard, so he wasn't going to go help him anymore because his chickens got loose. But so it's a not we didn't expect to have customers riding around on tractors, but we had one. We had a customer recently who basically said that he chose MobileHelp because he has no relative living nearby, and he really just wants that safety net, and he figured MobileHelp is cheaper than a wife. So, and that was his quote: "MobileHelp is cheaper than a wife." So I guess cheaper than a wife is less than $40 a month. So
there you go. That's a happy customer.
Yeah, we do have happy customers because, again, mobility is relative. So
yeah,
sort of getting you free to go about your business, particularly for people who, to your point, have had some sort of incident. They're the ones most sensitive to knowing exactly what it feels like to be stranded somewhere. What we're trying to do is get the word out so there's more people who don't ever have to be in that position where they are unable to get help for some period of time because they've proactively made sure that they're not going to be in that position.
Yeah, and really until it happens, I mean, that moment when I was 8 years old, that sticks with me till this day.
Right.
Thinking, okay, it's a challenge for me. Do I bring the cell phone or do I not bring the cell phone when I'm going out on some crazy mud run? Because I know. Same with the neighbor down the street. So she, until it happens, you don't really think about it until that stress moment comes up. So it changes everything. And for people who it doesn't come up, they understand. They know that it's possible, and it can make a huge difference to have something right there.
And it's not supposed to happen to you, right? That stuff happens to
Right.
everybody else.
yeah, it's never supposed to happen to you, and it can happen at any age. And so I see, I know this application is really beneficial to definitely a certain demographic, but I just see it really across the board being a help to so many people who say, you know what, I can see that being a help to me, so I'm going to sign up. And that's I don't know, that's a third of the cost of my cell phone bill. So
Right.
that's a no. My cell phone bill only goes up more and more every month. So
like,
what do we have with MobileHelp? What do we have to look forward to? Any new things on the horizon?
We do. We have, I'm actually wearing one of the first prototypes of an automatic fall detection pendant. So
Oh, wow.
we acquired a company last summer called Halo Monitoring that had developed some really robust and accurate automatic fall detection that will be able to detect when you've fallen and send a signal for you. So if you fall and
Wow.
fell because you passed out, the device will automatically send a signal out for you. So we're excited about that. We're going to introduce that in the May timeframe this year, and it'll be compatible with all of our products, so we'll be able to send signals to them. And the other thing that we learned is that a lot of people, even in our demographic, are abandoning hardwired phone lines. So our in-home base station that runs on standard phone lines, people are more and more abandoning those phone lines. So we've developed a cellular version of the in-home base station
Nice.
for people who don't have in-home phone lines, and that device will have some added functionality that'll be nice, like the ability to be able to detect the ambient temperature inside the home. So you'll be able to go to your app on your iPhone and set some parameters that says, if mom lets the house get above 90 degrees or below 50, send me a message, because I know she's trying to save money and it's not really healthy for it to be that hot or cold. So we're going to be able to do some things like that would have been more difficult for a system plugged into a phone line. So, and we're going to keep expanding applications like that'll help caregivers be more involved in helping their aging parents. Nice.
I love the direction that you guys are going in. It's solving so many more problems. With the Halo technology, I can't even comprehend how that works. It must have some way of knowing when something inside of them has changed, or heart rate has changed, or...
It's actually, so do you have an iPhone or a
iPhone,
smartphone?
yep. Mm-hmm.
So when you turn your phone, it knows what orientation your phone is.
Okay.
This is a device similar to that's detecting orientation, shock, vibration, and altitude.
Awesome.
And running it through algorithms to determine whether or not that it's likely that you just fell. So
you're kidding me. And that's in this piece that you're wearing?
Yeah, it's in this tiny device.
Get out.
So
that's amazing.
The Yeah, and it's also going to be able to give us some just general activity monitoring capabilities. So on a daily basis, at least quantitatively knowing how active your parents or grandparents are is really an important indicator of health. So we want to be able to provide that data at some level as well. So if you looked at a graph of 3 weeks of just quantitative activity for your loved one, you'll be able to see whether their activity is going down or up or staying the same. And we've researched and determined that that's a very good indicator of overall health. So we're going to add that kind of capability as well.
Nice. How long have you guys been around?
The company was founded in 2006, and we launched the product at the end of 2009.
Nice.
And we've been growing very, very steadily since.
Excellent. Good.
Pretty rapidly, so.
Good, as you should. You're really answering a lot of problems out there in such a simple way and sort of a streamlined way into someone's life to add just a small piece of technology or a watch, and you've answered a lot of problems in a very cost-effective manner.
Yeah, I'm a pretty simple guy, so that was one of our mantras. It's got to be simple.
Yeah, well, especially for the setup and for somebody to, add into their life. You want them to be able to use it. If it's too cumbersome, they won't use it.
Right. That's how I feel.
Nice. Okay, so someone's listening. They say, all right, I get this. I'm totally sold. Where do I go and buy it? How can I get this?
There's two really easy ways. You can go to mobilehelpnow.com.
Okay.
And you can get all of the information about our products online, and we have our phone numbers, and you can call us or you can order online. Or we have a really simple phone number. It's 800-800-1710, and we have people here that would be happy to walk you through the system and the plans and help you with placing an order.
Nice. Okay, so you've got people there to answer the phone, or they can go online and do it.
Either both. We have both capabilities. So we've got a whole staff of salespeople who are very knowledgeable about the products and can answer any question you could possibly throw out. And if you had enough information online and you wanted to order it there, we have that capability as well.
Perfect. And you guys are in Boca.
Yeah, we're in warm, sunny Boca Raton, Florida.
I can't say it without saying Boca. And I used to live down in South Florida, so I feel like I can say it.
Especially this time of year, it's in February, it's paradise. So we rename it Paradise for a few months. So.
It is absolutely paradise. So you guys, if you call in, you should get very happy voices on the other line. More happy in the winter.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay, so thank you so much for the information. And you guys, I'm also going to put the website info in the show notes. I'm going to put the Facebook, Twitter information. Every possible way to get in touch with these guys will be right below our happy faces right here. So I want to end with one question for you. And that is, besides your awesome product, what's one action a listener can take today to help their aging parent?
I would say give them a call. We spend our days very busy, and the days go by really quickly for us. But I know, like for my father, he's not as busy, spends a lot of time with his dog. So a simple phone call means a lot more to him than it does to us on a daily basis. So I'd say just give somebody a call.
Give them a call. Okay, you guys heard that. So when you finish watching this, I want you guys to close your computers and give your parents, your grandparents, your aunts, uncles, whomever, just give them a call and just say hi. Just take 2 minutes to do that. So excellent advice. Rob, thank you for talking with me today and sharing your story and sharing your products with everybody. They're going to go check it out, and I think everyone's going to love it just as much as I do.
Very good. Thank you very much for your time, too.
All right, you guys. As always, I want you to look above and subscribe up above, and I will give you an alert to when the newest episode is out, which is every single Wednesday. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right, you guys, see you next week. Bye-bye.